Okay, so now I'm at, I cut this out. I've already cut these guys out. I'm making my, is that what I did? Well, that stinks. Oh, I can do my other shoe. I have a left shoe. Sorry, I was just thinking about, I cut this out this direction, but then I put the striations in this direction, thinking that I was going to bend it up like that. But I didn't like how it bent on almost geometric lines. So I tried to bend it the other way, and I got a nice bend from it. And it was kind of nice, but however, it's the other shoe, it's the left shoe. And then what am I gonna do? So I can just switch shoes. I'm just gonna go with my left shoe, and I'll do that in a little bit. So, so I don't have to recut or everything. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how I did this. First thing I did was I studied my shoe, right? And I put this right on the shoe, my footprint, if you will, right on the shoe. And I'm trying to find out exactly where, and I'm gonna mark it, where the heel starts to come off of the flat part. And you kind of see it rides the flatness all the way from here to about here. So I'm just gonna mark it right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna mark it looks like it starts to come out about right here. I'm marking it where the flatness is. And then from there, I'm gonna turn it, because I think I put these on the other, yeah. So that little mark I have, I'm just gonna turn it to the other side, the little mark I have, I'm gonna turn it right here. That's all I need right now. The other thing I did, but I have to copy that because it's kind of what I found the, turn this back, put this on top. I found the center point of the shoe, which looks like it's about like right here. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to find the center point of the toe, and I kind of went right there. And then I put the heel down, and I tried to find the center point of the heel, and it looks like it's about right here. And what I did is I took a ruler and I connected those 2 points. Just like so. And it looks like, oh, I'm sorry. I have to connect it this way. So I just did it on the wrong side. Not a big deal. You just turn it around and find the two, just bring the line over on the other side is what I'm trying to say. Now I just want to make sure it's consistent with what I have from my previous lines. And it's close, I'm just a little off, not a big deal. So I'm gonna use the lines that I had from my previous cut. Okay, so that's right here. So now I'm gonna connect those 2 points. Alrighty, now I have everything on the same, kind of see. This is kind of a fun design, but I have everything on the same side. Great. And you kind of see what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure across. So I'll keep this. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see that. I'll keep this here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to measure this across using my red graph ruler. But before that, I'm putting my red graph ruler right on that line. Do you see that? I'm putting this line parallel with the red graph ruler, lining it up with this line, and I'm going to drop a line down. Do the same thing on this side. Drop a line down. Awesome. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to, doesn't matter, I'm just going to put the 2 here, and every 1/4 inch I'm going to put a dot. 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. All the way down to the end. Oops. No, it goes there. And make sure it's right on that line. Over here in the other room, I think my wife is entertaining our baby with 80s music. seems to like it, so great. So you can kind of see I'm putting the 1/4 inch down on the other side. All right. Now this is the easy part, to be honest. You're gonna say, I have to put all those lines. No, you don't. You don't have to really draw the lines in. All you need. And if you took a 2D design class or are taking a 2D design class, you should have this as one of your materials. So what I just did is I doubled up my, what do you call it, cutting mats, just so I get a nice lip on the top here, and I'm making sure that they're flush. Now, if you don't have two cutting mats to do this with, it's not a big deal. You can kind of tape it to your table, you can do whatever, but these lines right here, if you see these white lines, I'm lining this up with it right here, and I'm lining up with it on the other side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my tape. And the reason I'm doing this is so it's consistent all the way through. And since I'm making these moves, I want it to look good in the end. I don't want to recut this. So I'm just gonna try to do everything the right way once. What I just did there, I just taped it down so it doesn't move on me. And it's out of the way so this thing doesn't get caught into the tape. Double checking that's flush. And now I'm going to grab my little knife and I'm gonna go right on those lines. Or right where those points are. And you kind of see, at all times you want this to be pulling down and flush with the edge of this. So this is perpendicular to that line. And here we go, off to the races. And I'm cutting, how deep am I cutting? I'm cutting maybe like half of the way through. You can kind of just feel it. And remember, because you're cutting with a blade, there isn't really any kerf, and kerf is the thickness of the blade. So if you cut a piece of wood and you cut through the wood that you cut out is the thickness of the blade. In this case, there really isn't any kerf. So when you bring the ruler up to the line, make sure it's right on the line, and then you can kind of slice down. And you might say to yourself, I never want to cut and slice paper again. But this isn't as bad as what you did in the first project. This is actually probably a combination of the first project and the second project into one. And the whole challenge of this project is to really understand how something is built and put together. And if you can manipulate a single material to act a different way. So there's a lot of challenges here. Just a little cut there. All right, so you can kind of see I did that, right? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna flip this so I can do the other side. But when I flip it, I just wanna make sure that I slide up because I have two mats and I just wanna make sure they are flush. And I'm using my fingers right here to make sure that they are exactly flush at the top. So when I run my T-square along its edge, it will be perpendicular to my line. Now, this blade here, you'll know when it's dull when you start, again, to rip the inside of your foam. So you can kind of see this is a clean cut. I don't know if I talked about this before. That's a nice clean cut. That's what you want. When it starts to rip, you can see the foam gets bunched up inside of there. That's when your blade's dull and you want to change it. And it's not fun to cut. It should cut like butter, right through. Oops, that one wasn't perfect. All right, so now we got our lines cut. And remember, I'm only doing this 8 times. And some of these I'm gonna have to cut, and I'll make another video about that. But some of these, once I get these all made, then I'll have to slowly kind of cut some of these shorter and shorter, because you can see that it tapers down and gets shorter here. So I might have 3 full ones, and then the 4th one might be that much shorter, and the 5th one that much shorter, the 6th one that much shorter, and then maybe the 7th one is just a piece in the middle, something like that. I don't know, I'll have to figure that out as I go. You can kind of see that this starts to break up a little bit, and I'm just kind of bending it. So now it's a bendable material, what it isn't made to do, but you can kind of manipulate it and make it do things that it didn't know it was capable of. And then now you can kind of see how I get this bend here. Does that make sense now? Look at that, it's like, whoa, I don't want to do that. But it's really malleable, and I'm gonna get a similar shape to that eventually. So that's kind of how you go about it. I didn't have to cut this because that's gonna be flat on the ground. So I just left that alone. And that's where I am. All right.